The phone screamed while I stood barefoot on warm stone. Lake light slid across the floor of my Swiss villa, pale and indifferent, the kind of light that doesn't ask questions. I watched it crawl over the edge of the infinity pool and vanish. 71 missed calls, all from the same number. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes," my daughter-in-law had shouted earlier, her voice sharp enough to cut porcelain. I had replied with a single word: enjoy. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't defend myself. I sent photographs instead, quiet, clean images. The villa at dawn, the view, a table set for one, silverware aligned with surgical precision. That was when the calls began. I didn't answer. I stood still and listened to the silence around me, thick as velvet. Somewhere inside that silence, something old loosened its grip. The life I loved had already been taken from me, piece by careful piece, by people who wore my name and smiled across my table. My daughter's laugh used to live in this chest. Now it echoed somewhere unreachable. I let the phone ring and ring. They said I was difficult, cold, unnecessary. They said I made things hard. My son stopped looking me in the eye first. Then he stopped calling. Then he stopped asking if I was coming over at all. My daughter-in-law filled the space with cheer and rules, boundaries, she called them, conditions, wash the dishes. My granddaughter, my daughter, the only one who ever mattered, began to disappear behind schedules I didn't recognize. Holidays reshaped themselves without me. Decisions were made in rooms I was no longer invited into. I noticed the details before I noticed the betrayal. The way my daughter-in-law spoke about my finances with casual ownership, the way my son flinched when money came up, the way paperwork arrived half-complete, signatures suggested but never discussed. They told me it was for my own good. I nodded, smiled, learned the rhythm of being dismissed, and then the house went quiet. My granddaughter stopped answering my messages. My son sent a text, formal, distant, about space, about what's best for everyone. I read it twice, then a third time. Something inside me went very still. I didn't argue. I observed. I requested copies, statements, custodial documents, trust amendments I didn't remember authorizing. I spoke to lawyers the way I spoke to doctors, calm, precise, curious. At night the questions came, not loud, surgical. Why was my signature placed so neatly on pages I'd never seen? Why did the trust list my daughter-in-law as executor before me? Why had my granddaughter's school changed emergency contacts? I ordered phone records, dates aligned like constellations. Every call I missed, she answered. Every message I sent, she intercepted. I watched old videos on mute, my granddaughter's smile shrinking frame by frame. They weren't stealing my money. They were erasing me. I booked the flight to Switzerland without telling anyone, bought the villa through a shell I'd prepared years ago, just in case the ground ever fell away. It had. The envelope arrived thick and quiet. Inside, timelines, signatures, emails printed in black and white, stripped of tone and excuses. My son had known, not at first, but long enough. He had agreed it would be easier this way, cleaner. My daughter-in-law wrote it plainly, how my presence complicated their plans, how my bond with my granddaughter made control difficult. I invited them to lunch, neutral ground, no emotion. I placed the papers between us and folded my hands. "You knew," I said, not a question. My son stared at the table. My daughter-in-law cried, loudly, the kind of crying that demands witnesses. I waited. When she reached for my arm, I leaned back. "I already forgave you," I said softly, "before you asked." She looked up, confused. "For what comes next?" I didn't raise my voice. I transferred assets with a keystroke, executed clauses they hadn't read, clauses that required me to be present, clauses that reverted custodial influence when deception was proven. Their lawyers stopped returning calls. I sent one final message to my son. I hope it was worth it. Thanksgiving came and went. I cooked nothing, washed nothing. When my daughter-in-law saw the villa photos circulate quietly through channels she couldn't control, her phone lit up. Mine rang. 71 times. I blocked the number. The water is still now. I sit by the pool and think of my daughter, lost but not gone, somewhere beyond their reach, somewhere clean. I feel no rage. Rage is messy. What I feel is clarity. They wanted my silence. They got it. They wanted my obedience. They lost everything instead. The truth didn't explode. It settled. And when I finally walked away, I didn't look back. Because power doesn't shout. It leaves.